So in here, I want to talk about how glasses can be used, smart glasses can be used in the future to benefit disabled people. And I'll link some previous videos kind of on the subject that kind of were designing these glasses. And again, as I mentioned in my previous video, the more uses you can combine in the glasses, the more energy you save, because the AI and stuff can do multitasking, use on the computing power for two tasks, share it, and also promotes more development. Well, the first one I want to talk about is actually just using it as a general highlighter for objects. And we can have different levels of this, and I'll explain what I mean. But some people, when they're overwhelmed with anxiety, they don't notice stuff. Some people do not know stuff because they actually have visual processing problems or seeing problems due to problems with the eyes. Other people might have executive dysfunction stuff and might have troubles noticing it, or it drains more out of them. And you have other people might have focus issues, so that they just get overwhelmed when looking for stuff. Other people might not even know what a thing looks like. So they might not look at an object and be like, I need to get the, what was it? The Ooga Booga Wooga? What's an Ooga Booga Wooga? So the idea of the highlighter is kind of very simple. It would, if you say, I'm looking for this, it would highlight objects that it thinks kind of match it or somehow emphasize it. It could do this in a variety of ways. Maybe it makes a little dot around it. Maybe it outlines it. Maybe it tells you center of field or look 11 o'clock. Maybe it changes its colors. Maybe it circles it. And maybe it puts a little X around it. And maybe you can fool around with these settings to make them better for you and customize it. Then, and you could do it so that, you could do this several ways. One is you could train it for different objects. Another thing you could train it is for different descriptions, saying like, I'm looking for an item that is black. Then it emphasizes all the black items. We can say, I'm looking for an item that's round and black, and then it highlights round and black items. Another way you could do it is you could have sticker and tags and stuff that would respond with that. That would require at least training. But you have to put a lot for individual ones, and you might not always have done it pre-hand, and all the hassle might not always go to put tags on everything. But that's just one general idea I want to throw out there. Another thing you could do is have this whole thing become a non-invasive alarm. And by having it as a non-invasive alarm, I mean an alarm that tells you that time's up or time is running out and stuff like that, and reminds you. This is a problem because a lot of autistic people, a lot of dyslexic people, and ADHD people, and plenty of other neurodivergencies don't have a sense of time. Anxiety and emotions can also get rid of a sense of time. But also a lot of us are overwhelmed and just forget stuff. So and if you're disabled, that's even more urgent, because whether it's a poor meds or something like that. So you have all these things. Ways that could give you a non-invasive alarm is, could slowly change the cover screen. It could send you just a reminder. You could put a text pattern on something. It could do a variety of these things. You could also combine it with a highlighter that highlights something to remind you just before you have to get it. Like, oh, if you haven't drank in a while, it might highlight a drink nearby to remind you, oh, I should drink. And then you don't have to go. So a variety of ways, and if you have this with speech recognition already, then it might be easy for you to set up the non-invasive alarms and customize them using speech and turn them on. Also, the thing about non-invasive alarms kind of be nice is that they don't disrupt, how would I say it, people around you as much. And that might be nicer for people around you, but also might be nicer if you're embarrassed. Let's say you're embarrassed to take your meds, or embarrassed you forgot to drink or eat or something like that, which can get in the way of people going out, people just living their lives, and cause more excess anxiety. It also might be useful if you just have sound sensitivity and hate the sounds of alarms going off, or the sounds of alarms going off makes you jump and messes up your day because you crashed your car because you jumped up and down because alarm went blah 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 blah. Or you could even set alarms that are shared between individual people but not the whole group. So you don't only people that need it in the group get the alarm, so the group doesn't go completely bonkers and everyone just has to hear your alarm going off. Well, the next idea is to make a sort of what I'm going to call is the same idea but for a health alarm. And that's just telling you your blood meter or your health and stuff like that in real time. So you can better monitor it if you have, let's say, interception issues or other stuff like that going on. Now, again, this would probably mean there's other devices built in this particular case to monitor your health. We could do some of it just with smart glasses. With a camera and some optical devices, you might be able to measure a little blood oxygen with devices near the head. You might be able to scan the iris for little bits of things like a little bit of health data. And you could also maybe detect breathing and stuff because it's nearby. You could just also maybe detect pulse rate with the ear set and stuff. I mean, just pulse because you have also, as long as it's in contact with some skin, you might be able to detect pulse rate. But not nearly as much as a wristband, I think, or something actually over your ear. Another useful idea, and I put down audio translator, but it's not exactly an audio translator. What it is that it would take audio streams and turn it into words. And you could then, instead of having to listen to people with audio processing disorder, you just read the words in text. This is a base unit with people with audio processing disorder was a disorder where you can't process noises always as well as other people. So even if your hearing is normal, or for people that have hearing troubles, this is a good idea, but there's a lot of room for improvement within the idea. Because what about tuning out specific conversations or something like that? What about for different languages? What about people with different accents and so on and so on? So it might not be all. It might take a long time before it's very universal appropriate. Also, beyond that is you have challenges with how you display information because you don't want to block out too big of a field of vision. Like while you're driving, it blocks out your whole field of vision and you can't see where you're driving. So you might have to figure out ways to play with the settings and stuff, and maybe have customizable settings that changes depending on the exact occasion of stuff going around. You could also have it maybe instead help translate your stuff with built-in microphones because that will be closer to your mouth, so maybe it'll pick up your voice better. There also might be other things helping with understanding other people. If they have speech disorder, something like that, it helps translate those across. Another one is that it could help control how much stimuli reaches your brain. For example, migraine sufferers might want less visual stimuli at times. So this thing might be able to lower the amount of visual stimuli that hits your brain so you're just not as overwhelmed. Or certain lights can bother people. It could also increase the visual stimuli in sometimes by bringing up stuff or contrast or make everything flashing for people that enjoy that just for fun, moods, and relaxing stuff. Or want to make Snapchats. It can also in the future maybe get rid of certain visual stimuli more than other ones, like faces bother me and overwhelm me more than other stuff, or flashing lights and stuff like that. So we could make it customizable. We could use it to in so many ways like that. And it could also we could also use it to get rid of motion. in your field of vision, so you feel more steady, less dizzy. There's ways of doing that that have been looked at. One by making objects look farther away than they are. The last use is more of a use for industry, but it could be used for disabled people that can't do traditional work. And this is that if you have displays in both eyes, you can more easily make a 3D model display. This might be useful very much in designing objects in like CAD and stuff, or in simulations. Well, thank you very much for listening. It really helps the channel out. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers in a year and 4,000 watch hours. This is really hard, really help I think into it. Also, if any of these for future videos, comments, or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. And that also includes any questions. Again, thank you very much. Goodbye.